So guys, today I'd like to talk about being an English teacher in Brazil. I'm an English teacher. I learned English when I was in China, when I studied there. When I went there, actually, I didn't speak English. I knew things like verb to be and a couple of conjugations, maybe the simple past. Uh, and maybe the reason for that was the the English teaching system in Brazil is not very good. I mean, you don't really learn English at school. You have to pay for private lessons or for schools that are specialized in teaching English. Just like my wife had an English school when I met her. She was the only teacher, and then we got married, and I started teaching too with her. And we have lots of students and such. But the thing is, the reason that we have this profession, that this English teaching profession exists in Brazil like it is, like private lessons, it's because the educational system in Brazil doesn't work very good in regards to English teaching. Sometimes I think the reason for that is because Brazil is a large country. So, except for people who live near the borders, like people in the south or in the west or in the north, uh, most of the countries that border Brazil speak Spanish. The people there speak Spanish. So, maybe they have this feeling that they have to learn another language. They have to speak Spanish because they live near the countries where people speak Spanish. But besides that, people who live in the most part of Brazil, let's say in the center of Brazil, they most of them see English as something like not important, something foreign, something distant, and maybe that reflects in the government, that reflects in the educational system, uh, and then at school it's like if you ask any Brazilian person about learning English at school, they will tell you that they've been learning verb to be forever, that it's always about verb to be, like in elementary school. When you finish elementary school and then you go to high school, you start to learn it all over again, and you start again in verb to be. uh, and then in my case, my parents didn't have the money to enroll me in a private English school, so I went to China with like knowing almost nothing, and I was lucky. In this case, I got a scholarship. My parents didn't pay for me to go to China. There was this scholarship, let's call it like that, and I got it, and I didn't have to pay. And if a lot of people helped me with tuition donation. Um, and then I came back to Brazil, and now I'm an English teacher. And sometimes it's hard, especially if you teach adults or young adults. Um, it's like sometimes they don't understand that they have to dedicate. They have to watch movies. They have to watch series. They have to listen to music. They have to look up for things they like on the internet in English if they want to learn the language. Not only about English, but any language. But in this case, I'm talking about English now. And then it's like I'm not against you like the culture of your country. Like some people, they like Brazilian music, they like Brazilian soap operas and telenovelas, and Brazilian soccer. But the thing is, sometimes they are too closed in these things. And then when you ask them, so what do you think about international music? Yeah, I don't like that much. And do you watch movies? Oh, I like movies, but I watch the double version in Portuguese. And I say, why don't you try to consume foreign material, foreign material in English? And they say, yeah, it's not my thing. But that's the problem. I mean, it's not an option. Like sometimes I want to ask them, why are you learning English then, if it's not your thing? And they say, because I want to travel and I want to talk to the hotel staff in English. I want to talk to people in English on the streets and to talk to the waiters and taxi drivers and have a nice experience, to see the Disney shows and everything they say there in English. And then I say, well, nice, I mean, good, but you won't learn English like this, like only coming here couple of hours a week. Of course, we focus a lot on conversation, and we focus on grammar too, but not that thing about grammar. I mean, we try to teach them how to learn grammar without them noticing that they are learning grammar. That's the secret about learning another language, learning conjugations and stuff. You don't want to force it on your students. You teach vocabulary, you talk to them in English, and then they learn the grammar. I mean, you also teach the grammar, you correct when they do a conjugation wrong, but they can't notice that they are studying the grammar, so they will learn it without noticing it. And there's another thing too. So some people are shy. They don't want to talk to you in English. They talk to you in English when you ask questions from the textbook. They answer you in English when you make questions. When it's anything related to the content of the book, related to the class, they speak in English. But then when they enter the door, they don't say good morning or good evening in English. They say in Portuguese. When they want to tell something important, like, oh, I didn't do my homework because the dog ate my book, something like that, they will say it in Portuguese. So that's a challenge here in Brazil, trying to teach people, especially adults. With teenagers, it's a bit different. Teenagers, they are more open-minded. They don't question too much. You tell them, do this, do that, conjugate like this, and they say, okay, I will do what you told me. And they learn it so fast. And of course, they consume more materials in English, like series and movies and books and internet articles in English. And but the thing is, they don't question too much. Adults, they tend to question you. Maybe I'm telling what is it like to teach English in Brazil, but maybe if you teach another language in another country, you may a foreign language or a second language, you may relate to this. You may know what I'm talking about. Adults, they tend to question, like you say, okay, don't say she have, the conjugation she has, and then they ask why. So it's a conjugation. There is no why. There is no why about grammar. Grammar is grammar. And then normally I like to give an example in Portuguese about a specific irregular conjugation, for example, in Portuguese. And I ask them, so do you know why you can say like this? And they say, no, I don't. And I ask, does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter. And then I say, it's the same for English. It doesn't matter the reason. Don't waste your energy trying to figure out the reason for this or for that and questioning grammar. You don't question grammar. It's like it is. And so it's a bit of a challenge like this. I mean, teaching adults will always be different from teaching teenagers, but I mean, in any country. But if you live in a more, let's say, internationalized country, like your country, maybe it's a small country and you have borders with many other countries, maybe lots of people who live in a country and work in another country or spend the holidays or even have family members in the country where your country borders. Maybe things are a bit different, but when you live in a large country, maybe people tell this about America too, that people in America, they are not interested in learning a second language. I mean, I know it's a bias, but here in Brazil it's like the same. It's so complicated sometimes because we are so isolated from neighbor countries depending on where we live. So these are the challenges. Of course, this adult versus teenager thing exists everywhere, but here in Brazil, it's a bit harder because of this, because the country is large, and that's how it's to be an English teacher in Brazil. Maybe you're from an English-speaking country and you want to come here and you want to teach, and you see. Except, but there is one thing. Maybe if you're from a foreign country and you don't speak Portuguese and you come here to teach, and you're a teacher, you have this talent to teach, uh, maybe you won't have the problem of people being in their comfort zone. Like everyone knows I'm Brazilian when I'm teaching, so they know that if they speak Portuguese, I will understand. Even though I tell them not to, even though I pretend I don't understand, they know I do. But if you don't speak Portuguese and you come here, so people have no option because they won't like stop and okay, stop. Let's talk in Portuguese right now because it's getting hard. Maybe it's a thing that will be different. But my point of view is a point of view of a Brazilian person teaching English in Brazil. So it's those are the challenges. But of course, the people learn when they really want. They learn. They may have question here and there, question you, question the grammar, question the teacher, question the methods, but they will learn. They learn English. Also, I always tell them that, like, I try to teach the conjugation, but let's say that they go to another country and they say, oh, she has a dog. Of course it's wrong, but I always tell them that they shouldn't be shy because of that. I mean, not. I mean, of course, I will teach them the right way of saying things, the right conjugations. But adults, they tend to be shy and they are afraid of making mistakes. So it's very hard to tell them not to be shy and speak in English. And when they go out, they go to another country with a group of friends, and they always let the one of the friends who speaks a better English do the things. And I tell them, travel alone, travel with someone who doesn't speak English. Then you have no option. And then sometimes when they do it, they just talk in English and they don't even realize they're making grammar mistakes. And there is nothing wrong with making mistakes. Of course, you have to try to do as better as you can, but there is no problem in making mistakes. You make grammar mistakes. Okay, so this was about teaching English. I hope you guys like the video. If you like the video, like it, hit the like button. If you don't like the video, tell me why you didn't like the video. Okay, that's it then. Bye.